We're taking it back to the classics on this episode of Pizza Time. By classics, it has to be the OG, the Margherita. I think that's my favorite pizza on earth. How could you go wrong? It's also my benchmark pizza. What do I mean by that? I'm always kind of playing around with my dough. And so I like to have, one pizza that I can compare each one. I'm always making a Margherita. It's firemost. And as you can see, if you follow me on Instagram, Santa Barbara Baker, I'm always posting on there, Marg every day. I really do that almost every day. Not quite, but I mean, it's probably like 6 days a week. It's the bombest pizza. I'm gonna show you how it's done in the Ooni Koda 16. We're shooting for the Santa Barbara standard bake. That's a 3 to 4 minute bake. I got the oven cranked right now, heating at full blast, getting that center deck around 850. We'll turn it down just before we load. But let's get that dough stretching. I'll tell you more about what I got going on this week. It's Margherita, the OG, the classics. It's pizza time. I'm here with the OG Natty. That's my naturally fermented sourdough. That recipe's up on santabarbarabaker.com, up on the blog. I got a whole guide, a YouTube series showing you all the steps of the process. But as I highlight in there, that's just kind of a guide for you to start playing around a little bit. And that's always what I'm doing. So what do I have going on today? So this is kind of a variation on what I normally do. I went for a longer fermentation at room temperature, also using just a small amount of starter. The starter percentage, I haven't calculated it fully out, but I think it's about 8%. So a little bit longer fermentation. We're going for, I was talking with Lou Braun on Instagram. He's like one of the OG pizza gurus back east. And that's like kind of the jam he likes. He got me all fired up on it. So I'm like, I gotta give it a try. Made a batch over the weekend that came out really nice. So we're gonna give it another shot. So with this kind of style, so what do I mean? It's like I made a starter last night. I only pulled just like a spoonful out of that. So the starter was smaller and less active than usual because I just had less in there. I went for a longer period of time. I think I let it go, it was overnight, about 14 hours before I made my batch of pizza. And then I let it just room temp ferment all day, never hit in the fridge. We'll see how it bakes up. I think it's gonna be pretty good. Seeing how it feels, you know what? I let it go. We're up to about, 7 hours fermentation now. I was looking at the dough. I got more of them in there. I think it could go even a little longer. So I'm gonna let the rest of those kind of hang out this evening. When I'm seeing them really good, stick them in the fridge. I'll use them over the next few days. So you can do that, make one pizza tonight, and then make the rest over the next couple days. It should be pretty forgiving. How is it stretching? So far, so good. Maybe, the proofing was looking all good on this. We'll see how it bakes up, but I don't know if you can see there. I'm just kind of opening up this dough ball. We're going thin crust, shooting around between 12 and 14 inches for the pizza. That's looking nice to me. I can see through it pretty even. Gonna put it right down on the marble this is gonna be the bottom of the pizza. That's what I have up right now. I'm gonna hit it with some flour, making sure that it doesn't stick when it hits the oven. I like building it this way, starting with always having the bottom up as you build it, then flipping it to top it. It's looking pretty good. I'm just working slow here so you guys can see, but you kind of want to move fast on this. Maybe a little bit too much flour here. It's always, making sure you get just the right amount that it doesn't stick to whatever your work surface is. You want to be able to pick it up, but not too much because that'll make your crust kind of look yellow or just, it's kind of an unpleasant thing, too much uncooked flour. That's looking pretty good to me. Gonna flip this over, kind of clean off my workspace here. We'll get this topped. The OG Marg, I got all the steps for that on the blog as well. I mean, it's one of the most simple ones. What are the steps? It's called making the tomato sauce. How are you gonna make your tomato sauce? Always using the bomb tomatoes. The headband OG, whatever you can get. I like those Bianco di Napoli's. I think they're firemost. Definitely really good stuff. There's other good stuff out there, but I just season them simply with salt, whirl them up. That's what we got going on today. Okay, let me pay attention here. You know what? I like this. I'm gonna just stretch it one more time before I get it fully topped in the marble. It looked a little uneven to me. As I put it down too, I'm seeing I got a lot of flour going on here. I'm just kind of shaking it off. Also making sure that it's not riding too much on the pizza, just evening out the crust here. All right, let's get this thing topped. Yeah, you see here, there's a little bit of flour on there. we want to, it would be fine, but the look and the taste, it's better if you can kind of clean that stuff off carefully, just making sure it doesn't stick here. All right, we're looking all good. Let's get this thing built. And you can see, sometimes it pops up along the edge. You can check that here, just pushing down, but it's mostly round. It's looking good to me. See all those bubbles popping up? Fermentation looking nice. I think this might be a bomb pizza. The OG Marg. I got my fire most tomatoes, just seasoned with salt. I'm just gonna go for 1 ladle full, spreading it around. I just go in with a circle, pushing it out towards the crust, and then I'll come back through and just kind of move it all around. You want an even coating of the tomato sauce, because you want an even amount in every bite, but also it's important that because it keeps the dough weighed down as it cooks. We want those little bubbles popping up, but nothing huge fatty where it's like leaving the deck of the surface. You're gonna have a bad time when that happens. All right, always moving fast. If you're making margs, you can go way faster than this. I encourage you to do that. The longer it sits, the potentially more problems you're gonna have. Basil, the homegrown OG. I always hook it up super fat. I like to put the basil on before the bake. I think that's the way to go. It really perfumes a lot more. You smell it, it gets into that tomatoes. I think it's it. And sometimes though too, hit it with that freshies afterwards. I'm saving a little bit here because I want cube today. I like to change it up when I'm doing my mark. Sometimes I'll just pull off a chunk. This time I cubed it up, so the little distribution will be maybe a little bit more generous, as in like less splotchy look. So I'm gonna hit it with a little more basil on the top to make sure we see it. I like to make sure who's ever eaten my pizza knows what they're eating, no secrets. So making sure that that basil is fully visible. This mozz, it's just fresh mozz. I got the cow's milk today. I just diced it up. Just kind of arranging these, making sure you get enough up there by the crust. That's gonna be your strongest part of the pizza. Maybe going a little bit less in the center. I just kind of like this strewn about. I think it makes for a pretty fun look. I'm just gonna hit it with the rest of the basil. Look at that, going so. Firemost Farms, grow this stuff myself. I got the little ones today. It's the end of the season. I'm gonna try and keep it going year round though. Moving some of these cheeses so they're not completely overlapping. But this is looking pretty good. Hitting it with the olive oil. Gonna get this loaded up. We'll watch it bake. It's pizza time. Loading up our marg into the Ooni Koda 16. I had that cranked, I just turned it down. That's how I like to do it for this 3 to 4 minute bake. What I'm doing here is just one, you can just kind of pull it like this, one final stretch on your peel, getting it maxed out there so everybody gets a fatty slice, making sure it gets somewhat round. That's your one last chance too if you got any cheese going around, making sure we got an even setting there, going right in before it sticks. All right, let's get this timer started. Grab my trusty pizza peel that I use as a turning peel. Not really the way to go. I think investing in a proper turning peel is probably better. I'm looking for the first turn on this style bake, about 30 seconds in. Oh, there we go. I got a huge bubble popping up. That's where I didn't hit enough cheese. When it kind of moved around when I was loading it onto the peel. So got to be careful on that. That's gonna, drop in there, maybe a little uncooked. That's the potential for it to stick. So we'll be careful. But about 30 seconds in, which we're just over now, I'm gonna go in and make my first turn. I'm seeing some bubbles coming up, all good stuff, but I wanna make sure it doesn't burn. Wish me luck. About 45 seconds in here. That bubble's sketching me out a little bit, but we'll see what we can do here. Looking pretty good. It's always just remain calm. If you're baking, you start freaking out, that's when things go wrong. You can usually salvage it if you have something go bad, but as soon as you start freaking out, you might have a bad time. So look at that right there, that bubble's gone down. Now I wanna make sure to give it some time before it turns, because that part wasn't hitting the deck of the oven. It's probably a little raw there, maybe sticky. So that's definitely something, if you're going in there, you can catch, rip your pizza. Not what we want. We're 1:25 in. I'm thinking about another turn now. Looking pretty good. A little sketchier on that bubble, but we'll make it work. Yeah, it's all good. Looking really nice. Look at that. Maybe a little bit dark there, but that brownie around the first day. This is just the same day dough. All right, let me get that. I'm not quite ready to hang that thing off yet. There we go. Looking pretty good. I'm gonna do one more little kind of quarter turn here, then we'll go into the ultra low zone. That's going clockwise past the lightning bolt, that max point, into the ultra low to finish this thing off it. We're about 2 minutes in, looking really good, going in for another turn here. All right, looking a little brown there, but so far so good. Going ultra low zone. Bam, pop it up real quick. Super low as the oven can go to finish it off. Going in for another turn here. Keeping this going as it finishes off. Finish it up, and I want looking, for that even browning. We want a slice that you can pick up. I shoot for that more crispy bottom bake. It's looking really nice and even, which I'm into. I feel like the one edge and the crust here maybe got a little dark. Not as much leopardine as I was hoping for. I made a batch similar to this a few days ago. It came out a little bit different. I'm excited to taste it though. See how that texture is. That's what I'm really interested in. We're a little bit over 3 minutes now, winding up that bake. This is looking really good to me. I'm just checking underneath here, seeing if it's nice and brown. It's looking good. Let's see here, take a peek. All right, I think this thing is done. Wow, look at that. Oh, it's a nice browning all the way around. Not as much of that kind of crazy leopardine stuff. That basil smells so good. I'm gonna get this thing onto the rack as we always do. Get all this hard work. See, look at that. It wants to stick on there. Imagine if you just slid that right onto your plate. It's gonna start steaming up. Your crispy crust now soggy, dumping the whole mozz all over your plate. Not as much. That's not as good a time, I'd say. Just let it hang out though, dude. It's not a big deal. 20 seconds, maybe a minute. I'm gonna slice it up. We'll meet you at the table. We'll give this thing a taste. It's pizza time. The sourdough, the natty with just a little bit of star this time. It smells so heady. Let's get in this thing. This one smells straight up firemost. The OG Marg. How could you ever go wrong? The queen of all pizzas. I think it's my favorite pizza of all time. It's my benchmark pizza whenever I'm playing around with the dough. Always making a Marg every day. Like I'm saying on my Instagram, Santa Barbara Baker on there too. It's where you go to try your pizzas. You can just go straight with marinara. I like going with the Marg. Today it's all riding on a version of my natty where I just did just a small amount of the starter, fermented all day at room temp. Oh man, losing my cheese there. It's all good. That's where that bubble was. But the bottom here looking pretty good. The fermentation, I think it was maybe a little bit under fermented, but it baked up pretty nice. Let's give this thing a taste. Oh, wow, it tastes so good. I had that cheese falling off. I had to get in it really quick before it fell apart. So, maybe could have been a little bit crispier there in the center. It's really thin. Check that out. Bottom looks really nice. The flavor, though, is really good on this. I think it could have proofed longer. We were just hungry for dinner, so sometimes you just got to make your pizza. But it baked up really nice. Maybe could have had a little bit more leopardine, but the texture, it has a nice tender bite to it. Like I was saying, I was chatting with pizza guru Lou Braun saying, you don't want to bite into your pizza and have it be like a tartine bread. It's pizza, it's a little different. So that tender bite is really nice on this. I feel like overall though, the flavor is really solid on this. I can't wait to see as this ferments a little bit longer. I might have to bake up another pizza tonight. But this one's so bomb. Got the recipes all on santabarbarabaker.com. That's where you can find all the Firemost pizza recipes, including dough. Tell your friends, Santa Barbara Baker on Instagram. Let me know what you think down in the comments, what you guys want to see. Hope you guys keep baking up the Firemost pizza. Let me know if you are. Love you all. Keep dreaming about that pizza. One love.